Again, good morning, welcome, and thank you for joining today, giving your precious time. So we'll try to start by quieting our mind. That we do by watching our breath mindfully for a few moments. Then we can try to generate good intention motivation. For example, by thinking, how fortunate and lucky we are to have this precious human life. Not only that, we have met the Dharma. On top of that, we have met many of qualified teachers, so we have gathered all the right conducive conditions, internally, externally, from outside, to practice the Dharma. Practice the Dharma means transforming and changing our attitude, our minds. From being too much selfish to less selfish. From being easily upset and angry and frustrated to be more patient, tolerant. From having too much uncontrolled desire to be more content and happy with what we have. From having too much ignorance to have more wisdom, more understanding. That is what Dharma practice means. We do the practice to transform and change our mind in that way. So it will be great loss of such an opportunity if we don't use it to practice the Dharma to transform our mind. It is only through transforming our mind we can find peace and true happiness within ourselves. And it is only through transforming our own heart and mind that we can be more benefit and help to others. Therefore, I'm going to try all my best as much as I can to make my life meaningful and not waste it by engaging in the practice of the Dharma, especially Mahayana Dharma. And the purpose of practicing the Dharma is to help benefit not only oneself, but other sentient beings as well. Because we do have the potential, the capacity, ability to be help and benefit to others as well. And even though there are so many different ways and means that we can be help and benefit to others, the greatest help and benefit that we can do to others is to help them to overcome their own afflictive emotions, negative, destructive, negative emotions, which are the very root of their all problem, suffering, and problem suffering of others as well. And to be able to help them not only to find temporary relief, temporary solutions, joy, but to be able to help them to find the ultimate lasting true happiness. If we can do that, help them to do that, that would be the best help that we can provide to others. And in order to be great help in that way, we ourselves need to be free from all those afflictive emotions, all those negative, destructive emotions, all the obscurations. And we ourselves need to cultivate highest level love, compassion, bodhicitta mind, wisdom, and all other virtues and positive inner qualities. Therefore, I must achieve fully awakened state as quick as possible. And I'm going to try all my best to achieve that fully awakened state. By putting all the effort through body, speech, and mind. And in order to achieve that fully awakened state, it doesn't come just by wishing it, but we have to engage in the path through the path and 10 movements. And for that, we need to engage in study, reflecting, contemplation, meditations. And for the success of study, reflection, contemplation, meditations, we need to purify, accumulate merit, and so forth. And for that very reasons, I'm going to listen to the talk, reflect on the meaning of those talk, contemplate on that as much as I can. And if I find any helpful suggestions through the discussions, I'm going to try to apply in my everyday life as much as possible. And for that also for that purpose, I'm going to go in refuge to the Buddha Dharma Sangha, in order to be greatest help and benefit to all sentient beings, and to achieve enlightenment for that purpose. Okay, so again, while we recite that, we can visualize, imagine, Buddha Shakyamuni, who is inseparable from our gurus, in the space above us, and then going in the refuge deeply from our heart, to be able to cultivate the Dharma, the exalted wisdom like himself within ourselves. And by cultivating that wisdom within ourselves, we become Arya beings, Arya Sangha, and still by engaging the path, slowly to become fully enlightened, fully awaken ourselves, just like Buddha himself, and to be source of inspiration, example, source of happiness for other sentient beings. so that we can help to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering and cause of suffering and to the ultimate happiness of enlightenment. So with that strong feeling, we'll try to recite 3 times. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye chodon soge chonam changju bado dane gyatso. Dagi shushe gibe sonam lola penje sangye joba. Sangye chodon soge chonam changju bado dane. Dagi shushe gibe sonam lola penje sangye joba. So today's topic, establishing a daily practice. So I think probably many of you have your own daily practice. You have already kind of established your daily practice, even though maybe some of you might not have daily established practice, and you might be kind of interested. For those who have already established their daily practice, hopefully maybe you might be able to find something that could help a little bit here and there. Hopes. If not, it can be just kind of reviewing your own practice, and it is a way to review your own practice, and it is way to remind our own practice. So it is hard to actually have a established daily practice, same daily practice for everyone, because we all are different, and we all have different practices and different kind of interests. Because some practice for certain practitioners who are interested for some other practice, they are not so interested in that. And also in terms of level of your practice, some who are still at the very beginning level, some of them who have been in Dharma for a while, and some of them who have been Dharma for a long time and who have already kind of received so many different teachings and empowerments and so on. And so they have many practice that they have to do, which they have been doing every day. So it is hard to kind of really have a universal kind of establishing a daily practice. I think normally it is an individual level, one-to-one. You get advice, suggestions, instructions how to establish your daily practice, and you do that, and then with the time, then discussing with whether it's a mentor, teachers, or Sangha help members, and seeing this is what I have been doing so far. That is how I find is helpful, not helpful, so, and what should other practice I should add it or not add it, and what would be kind of if I should change any kind of the practice, any kind of the meditations, or should I add more? So so that is kind of, then that should be how it normally that is how it is, but still trying to present a general kind of establishing daily practice, and hopefully maybe everyone can find something in that, and again because first I thought not just having a general, but then I think it would be nice to have some reference that we can use. So we are going to use this Lama Zopa Rinpoche's that are compiled together, which I think you all have got it. I think send it. The method to transform suffering life into happiness, including enlightenment. So that is, so I think maybe that is the basis for which I'm going to use, because to have some reference would be nice. Okay. So first of all, as His Holiness Dalai Lama advised, morning when we get up, the first thing is, even before we go to the bathroom and all other things, okay? Maybe while you are still on the bed, as you wake up, trying to generate a good intention, motivations for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year, for the life, And at the very beginning, maybe you can have a very short motivations when you are on the bed, So, you can try to generate, you don't have to do an extensive motivation. You can do a very short motivation that could take less than 5 minutes, so that after you wake up, everything you do, then that all of them become meaningful. Going to the bathroom, brushing, washing, using the toilets, all of those become more meaningful, more virtuous by the power of the motivation you just generated, And so generating, more kind, you can generate more kind of simple kind of motivations, as I said, simple, I have this precious human life and I want to make it meaningful, and to make my life meaningful is to work with my own mind and to benefit others, to be able to help others. And in order to help others, in order to work with my own mind, with my own Dharma practice, of course, then, we need to have good health. We need to survive and have a good health. The more we have good health, long life, good health, we are able to do more practice, and also we are able to help more people, more sentient beings. And for that purpose, in order to be healthy, long life, and in order to so that to practice Dharma more and to be help to others, then I need to work, for livings, I need to take care of a lot of things, so that means, I have to take care of my health, brushing, washing, going to the bathrooms, all these things that we have to do every day, and then we have to go to the job, whatever job, whether we are doing at home, from home, or we have to go to another places, or taking care of someone, whether it's your pets, your families, whatever, So all these are part of that. And so therefore, I'm going to engage into all these activities throughout the days, whatever I need to do for that purpose. The whole purpose of doing everything throughout the day, week, month, year, our whole life, until we achieve enlightenment, is basically to support the conditions to practice the Dharma. All of them to support the condition to practice the Dharma. And the purpose of practice of Dharma is to benefit others and help others. And so you can do that kind of course, you can use your own words, you can make it your own way, and I'm just giving some example of how it can, then you can make me your own, I think that will be more relatable, more personal if you make your own, having some basic idea of that and then making it more personal, then it become more close to your heart, So then you are just not repeating someone's word. Do you get it? someone's word, you are not really connecting strongly, you know. But you can make your own motivations, get the basic idea, the essence of that, and then make personal, then it becomes more personal and more stronger, you know. So that is the motivation. You start with motivation, then of course, then, you know, you need to do whatever, you know. If you need to take shower, brushing, everything, take up that, you know. And then whatever, you know, some people, maybe they might need some coffee, you know, morning coffee, you know, maybe, you know, without morning coffee, maybe they cannot start the day, you know. So, and for some people, maybe they might not need it, you know. Some people, they might start with tea, water, or nothing, you know. Then before you take care of other things, then it is good to start the day with your practice. Then it's good to practice. So after the get upping, you need to shower, brushing, washing, all of that. And then, you know, then next, before you get engaged in other activities, you know, first things, you try to do the practice. Because if you do the practice first thing, you know, less distractions. Once you started doing something that lead to something else, that lead to something else, and then you thought, you know, I will do morning practice, and then it is already afternoon, or already evening sometime. And you wish, oh, you know, I wanted to practice, but I lost today, maybe I will start tomorrow, you know. And that can go on for weeks, months, like that, you know. And because when you start doing something that lead to it, even just watching your phone, you know, if you start watching your phone for one message, then one message lead to the next message, and then you started, and then hours, times goes, and then you say, oh, now it's time to do something else. You need to go somewhere else, and then you miss the opportunity to do the practice. So that is why first things, you know, of course, when you go to bed, I don't know, you know, maybe you switch off your phone or whatever, you know, so it doesn't, morning, you don't have to, you know, and so before you open that, you know, so that is one thing. The first thing after you have washed everything is to do the practice. So I think that is important, you know. If you think, you know, I'm going to do the practice after I feed my pets, after I feed this and that, or after I take care of this one, then we all have our experience. We know, you know, one thing lead to another, and then time's gone, and without being able to do the practice, and we keep on missing the practice often. So that is why the first things before you do anything, then after that is the practice, you know. So because of course the practice that we are trying to do is, you know, is a Dharma, you know, and definitely is we are trying to practice Mahayana Dharma. So therefore, first of all, as we just did, you know, try to quiet your mind. Sit, have the right posture, whatever that is, you know. And even if you cannot stand, if for some health issue, if you cannot kind of stay cross-legged, or if you cannot even stand, it doesn't, your health shouldn't be obstacle shouldn't be an obstacle not to practice. You can practice while you are lying down, you know, if for health reason, if you cannot kind of sit straight, you know, or kind of, so, but, you know, if possible, if you have good health and if you have no problem, then, you know, in the right posture, 7-8 posture, you use 7 posture, you know, and through that, then the first thing is quiet your mind. That help to quiet your mind. So, you know, maybe when we get up, maybe some things Maybe you had something in your dreams, you had something remember from yesterday, something's bothering still from yesterday, last week, last month, everything. If something comes, then even you try to meditate, because that emotion, that thought is bothering you, that can be distraction from your practice. So first we want to kind of quiet all these emotions, all whatever thoughts, whether it's excitement, whether it's anxiety, whether it's worry, whether it is frustrations, whether it's sense of feeling by deceit, betrayals, or whether it's feeling someone kind of humiliated, whatever, all different thoughts could arise, a different emotion, different thought could arise in the morning, even without anyone being, something can trigger you, or maybe not, but still something can bother you. So while your mind is still in that turmoil, and if you try to meditate, your meditation will not be so strong, because you can be distracted by those. So thing is, you try to quiet all these thought, emotions, by focusing on the breath, watching the breath. Okay. And if it helps for the beginner, you can count, breathing in, breathing out, 1, breathing in, breathing out, 2, count mentally, breathing in, breathing out. You can go to up to 10. Again, you start with 1 to 10, 1 to 10, or you can continue up to 20, 30s, until your mind started to feel calm, relaxed, quiet. And also, that is also helpful to focus our attentions, our concentrations, So if you do that 5 to 10 minutes, okay, if you do that 5 to 10 minutes every day, 5 to 10 minutes that every day, one, it helps us to quiet all these different feelings, emotions. Secondly, it helps us to be able to improve our focus, our attentions, our concentrations. Okay. So then once your mind is more quiet, calm like that, then you can do more extensive motivation for the day, for the week, month, year, life, and, until we achieve enlightenment, So we can try to generate a bodhicitta motivations, and there you can do extensive, middle, little bit more extensive than what we do on the bed, when we first wake up, So again, we can think, how fortunate, lucky today I'm still alive, because so many, yesterday we all went to bed, and between these 12 hours, so many people are no more there in the world. Within those 12 hours, so many people lost. And those people who lost their life, many of them are healthy. Many of them are young and healthy. I could have been one of those. I could have been one of those who lost their life. And I'm so fortunate and lucky that I'm still alive and giving one more chance, opportunity to continue to practice the Dharma. So feeling, grateful, thankful, by remembering the impermanence, the nature of impermanent, nature of impermanent, where end to our life could come anytime, any moment. Luckily, it hasn't come until now, fortunate. And so therefore, we never know when it will come, we never know when it is waiting for us. And so therefore, I have to make most of it while I still have that opportunity, And the best way to make our life meaning, as we mentioned, is, not only to pursue our own happiness, but to work for the benefit of happiness of all sentient beings. And when we work for the benefit of all sentient beings, your own happiness is included in that. I don't have to think my happiness when I think of all sentient beings, because I'm one of sentient beings. So my happiness included there. So we don't, so the purpose of, my life is not to be so narrow about just myself, but to be able to be much more broader, because we do have the potential to be that. And so therefore, to be benefit to other sentient beings. And as I mentioned, in the motivation, the best, even though there are so many different ways to help and benefit, the best way to benefit is if we can help them to understand their own karma, their own delusions, and how they can overcome those negative emotions, afflictive emotions. That's the best help we can do. Other help is very temporary, no matter how much, someone is starving, I can feed that person is only for one day, and the same problem arises, same problem continues, next day, next week, next month. And even I'm able to support someone from starving for whole life, still there are so many other beings who are that it becomes kind of endless. And even they don't have suffering of starvation, they have suffering with so many other things. Never ending. Even to solve one person's problem and suffering is never ending, isn't it? Forget about all sentient beings, just trying to end one person's suffering, never ending. Sometimes they have physical problems, sometimes they have other problems, sometimes they have emotional problems. There's always something never ending. And that is like that with all. But if we can help them somehow, if we can really help them to overcome their own karma and their own delusion, then we are able to help them permanently to solve all their problems. Not just one problem, all the problem. Not for a day, a week, month, or for life, for forever. And so therefore, cultivating the wish to be benefit and to benefit in the best way and in that way. And in order to be able to be benefit that way, of course, then we have to inspire them. We have to, help them with our own direct experience. And to be able to guide them, lead them, inspire them with our own direct experience, then of course we ourselves need to be free from all of that, those afflictive emotions. And we ourselves need to cultivate all the positive qualities that we want to see them in them. It is interesting, isn't it? Sometimes, I like people to be patient, but not me. I like people to be compassionate, but not me. I wish everyone's compassionate except me. I wish everyone is nice except me. I wish everyone is patient except me. Sometimes that is how we expect all others to be good, but not necessarily ourselves. So that doesn't work. That is why it doesn't work. You want to inspire someone, you have to be the example. Lead by example. And so therefore, to be able to inspire and lead someone in that way and help them, then we ourselves have to be the example, and therefore we ourselves need to reduce and gradually overcome all those afflictive emotions, all these obscurations, and cultivate all the positive quality that we want to see, loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, wisdoms, sense of contentment, patience, and so forth, all those different qualities. And then to do that, then the wish to achieve, the enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, in order to benefit the sentient beings in the most effective way, in the most skillful way. For that purpose, then I need to engage into I need to achieve the fully enlightenment or fully awakened state. And for that, I need to practice, For that, I need to cultivate the path and bhumi, and to able to cultivate those path and bhumi, then I need to practice, and practice whatever different practice. There are so many different practice, but all those different practice all support the path. Some of them directly, indirectly. So therefore, I'm going to do the practice, the meditations, whatever form of practice, whatever form of meditation you are doing, whether it is lumbering meditations, whether it is, shamatha meditations, whether it is tantric vajrayana meditations. It doesn't matter, whatever practice, different form of practice, whether you are doing preliminary practices, whatever, basically, whatever practice you are doing, I'm going to do this practice in order for that to achieve enlightenment, to be benefit for the others. So having that kind of motivation, strong motivations. And not only practice, in order to, as I mentioned before, so in order to achieve the enlightenment, to benefit, then I need to practice, not only practice, I need to practice continuously. It will require long time to be able to cultivate all these inner positive qualities, realizations, and to achieve that goal. And for that, again, we need to have long and good health. And for that, we need to take care of our body. That means we need to eat. That means we need to sleep, taking rest to our body. Otherwise, our mind cannot focus, So therefore, I need to eat. I need to sleep, I need to rest, other form of rest. I need to keep my body healthy. So that means whether I need to go to gyms or do some form of running, jogging, exercise, walking, yoga, whatever form that we might do as a way to kind of keep ourselves physically more healthy. So whatever we do in our life every day, so thinking that is why I'm going to do all of those to support, all of those things to support towards that, And for same thing, to be able to, to be healthy and to practice Dharma, we need the conditions. If we don't have some external condition, then it will be very. And so for that, we need to make living, for living. So whatever form of things that we do for our living, whatever job we do for our living, is to support the Dharma. And the purpose of practicing the Dharma is to be benefit to others, to help others. And so therefore, that is what everything that I'm going to do today, whole day, eating, sleeping, walking, going to the job, taking care of families, animals, which are part of your families, pets, all of that is again is to support our practice, to create merit, to be benefit to others, to help to increase loving kindness, compassion. So again, seeing all of this as a condition to support our practice. So therefore, everything I do today, everything I do week, everything I do this week, this month, this year, everything that I do in my whole life, everything I do life after life until I achieve enlightenment, may all be supportive cause, supportive condition and cause to actualize, to overcome all those afflictive emotions, to actualize all the positive qualities and to be benefit to others. So again, this is a very kind of another example how you can integrate. Of course, you can add more from the Lamrim, if you want to go through small scope, middle scope, and great scope, you can integrate all of them within your motivation as well, all of those practice. So anyway, but I think maybe that is, I'm trying to keep it a little bit more simplified. And then as I mentioned before, again, you can make your own personal, as long as you make it, So then once you have that motivations, you cultivate that strong motivations, and then, we try to do the refuge and bodhicitta, we begin the practice, the actual practice with refuge and bodhicitta. And in terms of that practice, you can do very extensive refuge and bodhicitta. You can do a very middle, not so extensive middle, or you can do very short and simple as well. And as I mentioned, you can do a, big, extensive visualizations that you see in Lama Chopa, Guru Yogas, or in the church preliminary practices. Or you can do a very simple, just visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, just visualize Buddha Shakyamuni. And again, if you can have a good visualization, it's good. If you don't have a good visualization, don't worry about that. Just feel that it present of that Buddha Shakyamuni there. Even there is a vague image that you might have, not clear image, but still thinking the Buddha Shakyamuni, and nor is Buddha Shakyamuni who is inseparable from your root guru, is your root guru, if you have a guru and root guru. If you don't have, then you just visualize Buddha Shakyamuni. But if you have guru and root guru, then you think it is your root guru who is inseparable from all other gurus again. The root guru is inseparable from all the gurus. And the Buddha Shakyamuni inseparable from your root guru. Also, Buddha Shakyamuni encompasses all the other Buddhas, deities. So you see that, and then you can see Buddha Shakyamuni's, his own body is the Sangha, his speech or the wisdom is the Dharma, his speech is the Dharma, his enlightened mind, wisdom is the Buddha. So you see Buddha, Dharma, Sangha within one, all in one. So it's one easy way of doing, but of course you can do other more broader, as it is in many other extensive broader as well. So I don't think I will go detail in all of that because, So you do that visualization, and then you already have generated bodhicitta mind. So you just try to, again, kind of refresh it while you do. And by same prayer that we just recite, instead of by the merit of listening the teaching, we just by the merit of engaging in this practice, So that is the change of the word you can, So then through that, then you do the refuge and bodhicitta, 3 times, and then again, you can do the visualizations or cleansing, purifying and receiving the blessings, all of that. Again, I don't think I need to go in detail of that, So that is, and if possible, I think, like many of you are aware, the praise to the Buddha Shakyamuni that we do a lot of time before the teachings, So you can do that, you know. And again, sometimes, like sometimes they are like where it is mentioned you have to do 3 times. It doesn't mean if you don't do 3 times that you are doing wrong, okay? You can do just 1. That is just fine, It's when you do 3 times, it gives you more time to really feel it, More is feeling about it. And just by doing 1 time, if you help, if you can bring the feeling, then it's just even 1 time is okay, And so even with the Buddha Shakyamuni's prayers, the prayers that there is a repeating of 3 times, and sometimes we don't have so much time, and so you can just do 1 time instead of 3 times, and you can do that by remember the qualities of the Buddha Shakyamuni and kindness of him. The reason why we have access to the Dharma is because of Buddha Shakyamuni's kindness. All come through him, all flow from him. And starting the day with the Buddha Shakyamuni is helpful and beneficial. Personally, yeah, anyway, I think one of His Holiness advice, and I also find very helpful with that, particularly because sometimes, sometimes it feels like, we can somehow leave the Buddha Shakyamuni somewhere else. When we are sick, it feels like Buddha Shakyamuni will not be able to help. We need medicine Buddha. When an obstacle, it feels like Buddha Shakyamuni is not there. Maybe we need, Tara or Guru Rinpoche or something. Or when we need something, it's always asked to, but actually it's the Buddha Shakyamuni, all those different deities manifest from the Vajradhara, okay? From Vajradhara, then manifest in the mandala and the deity of the mandala. Vajradhara is manifested by the Buddha Shakyamuni when he teaches the Vajrayana teachings. So then he manifests in Vajradhara and or that particular deity of the mandala. So it is all those different deities manifest from the Buddha Shakyamuni. So he is the very root of all the deities. So how can you not think that, the creator does not have the power and the creation have the power? Do you get it what I mean? But sometimes we forget that, and then we don't regard the Buddha Shakyamuni as highly as we regard with the other deities. We feel so strong connected with the other deities and all of that, but somehow we kind of neglect, and so but he's the Buddha Shakyamuni is the root of everything, all the teachings, all the practice, all the deities, all the initiation, everything. So therefore, and even with that, maybe if you don't have time to do even those the prayers that we do because it's too long, the main thing is you just try to think of the Buddha Shakyamuni's, his qualities and his kindness, his contributions, directly, indirectly towards us in our practice. I think that is important to connect that every day. To be able to connect that every day, what kind of prayer you use, how long, short you do, that doesn't matter. You can decide, but the main thing is morning. You try to connect with that. I think that is more important part. Then to start, here in the method of transforming here, it starts with the meditation on the Lamrim gradual path. But before we do the gradual path meditation, then I think it will be, we go later and where you do the blessing of the speech, and that will be helpful, you know. So before you start all the prayers and practice, then you, before that you try to bless your speech. And I don't think there is much I need to explain on the blessing of the speech, because there is quite clearly mentions how to do it. The only thing is like, you know, there is a mentioning of arising yourself with deity. So of course, if someone has the initiation, then they could arise from that particular deities. But if someone has no initiations, then, you know, I think it is still possible to cultivate, generate yourself as a Buddha Shakyamuni. I think because it's more kind of sutra, so you don't need the initiation to do that particular practice. Sometimes we do the visualization, dissolve into yourself, and you arise as the Buddha Shakyamuni, you know. And so that is not necessarily the tantric, so you don't need that. So that is one option you can do, or you don't have. And so then you visualize the, or the, you know, as it is mentioned, you know, is page number 13, you know. So again, it starts with the refuge and then the bodhicitta, you know. Again, you can do 3 times or 1 time, you know. The main thing is to feel it. Sometimes what happens is, you know, a lot of those practice and prayers is so long, it takes so much time, we just try to recite as quick as possible. And then we don't really feel it. I would rather recite 1 time and actually feel the meaning of that. Take the time to really feel it, you know, with all kinds of different practice. That is what happens. A lot of time we have so much practice, we just, and some of them need to repeat 3 times, 7 times, 21 times, all of that. And we just rush without really feeling it. And then, of course, there is a benefit of reciting the prayers, mantras, but the main thing of doing those practice and reciting is actually the words are a tool to feel it. We use the word to feel it. It is just a tool. There is, I don't remember which master, I think it might have been one of the great Tibetan master, Kundang Rinpoche, but I'm not 100% sure where he says, he used an example of cane, an old person using a cane to walk. So the word is like the cane, and the old person is like the meaning of that, you know. So it is in order to contemplate, in order to reflect, in order to feel the meaning, then you use the word with the help of the word. So the main focus is not the word. The main focus is the contemplation, thinking on the meaning of that word. And sometimes that is what will happen. We just, no time to feel the meaning, no time to contemplate. And so that is why sometimes I say, you know, instead of 3, we can just do 1 and take the time to feel it, you know. It's important. And then from that, you know, according here, then you dissolve the merit field, you know, into light. The light dissolves into your refuge field, into light dissolve in yourself. And then you can think, you know, the Buddha Shakyamuni, the Guru, and enlightened body, speech, and mind, and your own body, speech, and mind become one, inseparable. You can spend few moments to feel that, you know. And then, you know, yourself, dissolve into light, and light becomes smaller, 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 and dissolve into emptiness. And then you can think, meditate on emptiness according to whatever your understanding as much as you can possible, And again, you can meditate on 5-10 minutes, half hour, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2-3 minutes, So try to meditate on the emptiness. But spend little time, even if it's short, to meditate on emptiness, according to your understanding, And then from that emptiness, then you think that there is the wisdom that realizes the emptiness. And that wisdom realizing the emptiness, then that wisdom manifests into a light, and light manifests into the deity, whatever deity you are manifesting. And, so depending on individual, for some practitioners, because their main practice might be related to a particular deity, so they might manifest in whatever deity, whether it's high yoga tantra, or whether it's deity of high yoga tantra, or whether it's a low deity yoga, it doesn't matter. So whatever main deity you are doing. But for those who have no initiations of any deities, then you could still visualize as a Buddha Shakyamuni, so that is when arise as a deity, that is what it means, And then on the tongue of the deity, syllable are transformed into mundis. So there is a syllable. So again, the letter, when you hear like syllables, you can visualize those syllables. It doesn't matter. You can visualize the Sanskrit syllable, Tibetan syllable, or English syllable. I don't think there is much difference, whatever you feel. If you don't have, if we can visualize well, then maybe I think, in Sanskrit might be the best, and Tibetan, but it doesn't mean it becomes less, okay? That is what I want. But so whatever syllable and then that syllable, our syllable transform into the mundis, On top of that mundis, then it appear again white om syllable, again, whether you use whatever. And then, surrounded clockwise by the Sanskrit vowel, the ali, that you will see the letters, like om, a, e, u, ri, li, li, e, o, ang, that ali, clockwise. And then it's counterclockwise, then Kali, that's Sanskrit consonant, so that counterwise. And then in blue color, heart mantra of dependent relation standing clockwise, that is, Om head, Dhamma head, Uttampa head, Mashamana is Soha. So you can visualize. So again, all of those syllables standing up, all of them, you can visualize making their own sound, bifurcating, energies, blissfulness, light, and clears, like what I call crystal clear, So you can see from outside the surrounding mantra, inside what is inside, because it's so crystal as well, And the thing is, all this, the main mantra, the moon cushions, the surrounding mantras and the syllable, they are not just an ordinary sound, they are not just ordinary form syllable. They all are enlightened, exalted wisdom, enlightened mind. It's an enlightened mind that is transformed into such sound. Enlightened mind that is transformed into such letter, syllable. So that is why those sounds and syllable have those energies, the power to heal and cleanse and purify because it's not just an ordinary sound and ordinary, it is the enlightened wisdom energy manifesting. So that is what we try to, whatever mantra we recite, any kind of different mantras, that we always have to remember, and that is why it has the ability to cleanse and purify all the delusion and all the obscurations. So then it says, light beams radiate from the syllable Om in the center, and the mantra of garlands, the 3 garlands of mantras, the first one, Ali in the clockwise and Kali in the counterclockwise. The first one white, and the second one the red, and the third one dependent arising mantra, and all of them, the garlands. So from the Om syllable and garlands of those 3 mantras, and right beams radiate and hook back, is like the magnets that hook back the blessing and the power of the both mundane and supramundane speech. So the power of the ordinary, mundane, and supermundane, ordinary, the speech of all the enlightened beings, in the form of 3 mantras. So Ali, Kali, and dependent arisings, and then 7 limb precious objects of king regions and 8 auspicious signs. Again, those you can read which of them, like such as in the mandala offering, you have these 7, precious, the wheel, the horse, the queen, all of that. So, and then at auspicious signs. So again, even you don't remember each of them, you can just think and visualize. They all are like when there is snowing, it comes and it dissolves, absorbs into that, So same thing, all this in the form of all these enlightened speech power energies in the form of different form of those mantras and those 7 precious and auspicious signs, but a very like a snow, and it dissolves into that. So you can do that. And then you recite the mantras, from inner to innermost. So then the Kali, 3 times again, if you have time, I know. And I think, I might be, of course, it would be great if we can recite not only 3 times, 7 times, 21 times, 100 times, but also we have to be realistic. How much time we have, and how much time, according to how much time we have, how much time you want to spend to reciting, how much time you want to spend to reflect and contemplating. That is the choice you have to make. And personally, I would rather you to spend more time on contemplations than just reciting all of them. And for that purpose, so that is why, I might get scolded from my teachers, I might get scolded from my teachers, but that is my take on that. And it is not only my take on that. I often observe His Holiness approach is also like that. His approach is more on really contemplating, meditating, than reciting so much verses and prayers in that, so that in a way I'm not kind of making up myself, okay? So anyway, so because I would like you to do all of them, but at the same time, if it takes too much time, then you have only maybe, you can give 1 hour or half hour a day, and then all this take, and then you have no time to really contemplation. I feel is unfortunate if that happens. Of course, if you have time, then of course we try to do 3 times and all of that, and take the time to really do the proper visualizations, all of them, spend a lot of time to do all of that. But if not, we just try to do short visualization and just one time, each of those Ali Kali and all of those that. And then there is the explanation with each of those, the first one, purifying the all the negative karma that we create through speech from the body, and second one through the speech, and third one, all the negative karma that we have created through the mind, and clearing all of that, and then receiving all the blessing of body, speech, and mind. So that kind of visualization there, you can do that. You can read that. That is clear. And then there is the benefit of the blessing the speech. So again, I'm not going to repeat that because it is clearly, Rinpoche has clearly mentioned that. You can read that. So, and then there's a short dedications, you can do that, short dedications. Then there is the mala, bless mantra for the blessing the malas, So again, of course you can do 7 times here, 3 times, if not so much time, then so again, all these numbers, great if we can do 7 times, not we can do, we can do 3 times, even not then 1 time, at this. So you can try to do the bless, and you can blow on the mantra, the malas after you recite that, and sorry, I thought I was on. So, and then mantra to increase the virtues, and then all other mantras, you can do sometime when you have time, I don't think you have, because some of them are also long mantras, and so when you have time, you can try to do, once a while, but I think increasing the virtues and blessing the mala, and then blessing the speech, maybe if you can do it every day, even if it's very short, 1 time each of them, I think that will be helpful to do. Okay, so then we go to so once you do that, then I'm going to the very beginning, and then, you do some lumbering meditations, start with the lumbering meditations, and again, of course, this is one of the that you can rely on, but again, you can rely on other texts as well, whether by using, Lama Tsongkhapa, Foundation All Good Qualities, or 3 Principal Expert or Path, or the short Lamrim, the experiential Lamrim, or whether you use from Lama Chopa, Panchen Losam Choiken's, his Lamrim text prayers. So you just use all this one, any of them, but basically is trying to reflect and contemplate on the graduate path Lamrim. Okay. And then, of course, we don't have, again, time to contemplate on each of those points every day, And so when you don't have time, first verses, you spend first day, more time to contemplate on that. Then all other verses, you just go through glance meditations, quickly, without spending so much time. You go. And then second day, then you go to the next verse, and then you contemplate on that next verse more thoroughly. And the first one and the rest of them, you can just do the glance of that. And then the third day, then you can do the third verses. And so you spend more time, 10, 15 minutes, really by using the reasonings, logics, quotations, bringing your own experience, examples, And through that, then you try to really feel about that point subject very strongly. And then, and then you go through the whole lumbering, it might take you 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And then again, you come from the very beginning and you continue again, you go through that. So each day you spend time to really contemplate, meditate. And that is one option. Another option will be you spend 1 week for one verse, or 2 weeks for one verse, and then others you go through glance. And sometimes that might be more helpful, because if you keep on changing the meditation every day, then again, because we haven't really been familiar with that practice, you are starting to get it familiar and you are just changing the topics, subjects. So, but if you spend maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks on same meditation, same meditation, same verse, then after some time you get familiar with that meditation, that practice, then actually you can really feel it and you might be able to sing it, sing and feel it. So then you spend 1 or 2 weeks, 3 weeks with one verse, and then that much amount of the next verse, and then you go through that. It might take you a year to go through the whole lumbering, but whole our life, it could take many lifetimes, so it doesn't matter, so you just go through that. So that is so even you have commitments and different deities practice, whether you have a sadhanas to do, whether you have mantra to do, whatever. But before you start all of them, you start the lumbering meditation, because lumbering meditation is the foundation and basis for all practice. So all other sadhanas, which are part of tantric practice, all has to come from the foundations of the lumbering, the sutra path, the lumbering path. And so therefore, even in your practice, first you start the lumbering meditations, the practice. Of course, it can depend whether you want to do the extensive, shorter, or very short, depending on your time, all of that. But at least you take time, 10 to 15, 20 minutes to do meditation on lumbering, every day. And especially, making some more effort to yeah, anyway, I thought of going through each of verses, but I guess maybe I guess maybe I don't need to go it. So I just kind of summarize it, Yeah, so that is you do the lumbering, and from lumbering, then you need to, if you do a particular sadhana, you do sadhana. If you don't have sadhana but reciting mantras, then you can do the mantras, whatever practice, and then you end after your practice. Then you end with dedication. Or what I was trying to say was, every day you try to find little time, effort to meditate on emptiness and bodhicitta. Okay, so with the bodhicitta, you can spend a little bit more time when you are trying to generate the bodhicitta motivations. Okay, when you try to do the bodhicitta motivations, so you spend a little bit of time to really have a stronger bodhicitta motivations meditation at that time. And then in terms of the emptiness, you can hear before the blessings speech, there is you have the refuge and bodhicitta, and then that dissolve into yourself, and you dissolve into the emptiness. And during that time, you can do more extensive meditation on emptiness, because these two are the key, bodhicitta and emptiness, the wisdom realizing emptiness. And His Holiness also very much emphasized, especially many of you might have been aware in, I would say, especially maybe last 10, 15 years, even when you take a lot of empowerments or jhanas, the commitment he gives is to meditate on bodhicitta and emptiness. He has stopped giving commitment of sadhanas, or even sometimes even reciting mantras. The commitment he gives is that, because that is the key thing, crucial. That, and even when he teach, even that is where he focus all the time. And so, and I think so. Therefore, that is, we try to do those two, especially in every day, a little bit on those two, and then rest, then with the rest of the lumbering, then I've mentioned already with one particular subject, maybe 1-2 weeks, and then continue like that. And then, of course, at the end, you do the dedication, and in the morning, you don't have to do extensive education. You can do the more shorter dedications, extensive motivations, and shorter dedications. In the evening, you can do shorter motivation and extensive dedications, okay? So, of course, if you have time, then of course it can be extensive all the time, both motivation and intention, the dedications. But we have to be realistic, I know everyone is busy, people struggle to find even 20 minutes, half hour for a day to their practice and meditations. So we have to be also aware and realistic about that too, So the point is you have to make effort to find some time for your practice meditation every day, and have discipline about it. Need to have some level of discipline. And if you can build some kind of discipline to that over a period of time, then it become, kind of routine. Just like we brush every day without any effort. That is our routine every day. Just like that, then practice, meditation becomes a routine. It doesn't require extra effort. Or you don't have to find extra time and effort. It fits into your routine easily. But to reach that point, you have to have some discipline at the very beginning. And one of the things that we have to be aware is, when we try to practice meditate, it's not going to be very, inspiring all the time, okay? Some days your practice meditation inspiring. Some days your practice meditation not so inspiring, it's a struggle, That is okay. That is part of our practice. That is part of our training. Sometimes for a week, we are enjoying the practice, very much inspiring. Then something happens, and then your inspirations lose, and the practice becomes struggles. And the problem with us is, when our practice becomes struggle and not so inspiring, not enjoyable, then we give up. And then we lose the discipline. And then it's very difficult to come back and to restart the practice again. So therefore, even when practice is not going so well or not so inspiring as we like to be, and even we are unable to concentrate so well, even as we want to concentrate, because our mind is kind of distracted with different things and by different situations and that, but still is important to have discipline to sit and try to do the practice. That is where we don't just give up because the practice is not inspiring or because practice, so you try to do. Of course, sometimes you could change the practice. If you still do the practice, okay? You still do the practice. You don't give up, whether it's half hour, 1 hour, you are trying to, or 45 minutes, you are trying to create that kind of schedule in your life at the morning to do practice. But sometimes if that particular subject, that particular time is not inspiring, you could change the subjects, the meditations, that suits something maybe at that time, of your life. And that could change. That could bring you more inspirations to the practice by changing the subjects, the topic, or the meditations. Sometimes that can be helpful, You might be trying to meditate on, let's say, impermanent. And at the very beginning, you started to have really kind of inspiration, really feeling, and then after some time you lose that. And then you are losing the inspiration to practice and that. And maybe you need something else, maybe something to uplift. Maybe the Buddha nature, maybe bodhicitta might be the other topics that might give you more inspiration. So sometimes we will lose the inspiration to do practice. We might have to change the topic, the subjects, or we might have to do it slightly differently. Do you get it? Sometimes you just have to do the meditation slightly differently. And by changing and doing slightly differently, then it can give you inspirations. So these are part of that. We try all those different things to bring up that inspirations. You try yourself. Sometimes maybe you might want to discuss with some of the other Sangha members. They might give you some kind of, tips, or share something that can give you something helpful. Or you might want to, if we have teachers, gurus, we can ask them their suggestions. Or sometimes just a Sangha member can be also helpful to help in that way. So basically that is how we try to find inspirations, okay? Trying to find inspirations in our practice and having the discipline is key. One of the things I always emphasize is the discipline and continuity is the one that will make you, whether you are going to have a better result over the time, is whether you have the continuity or not, and whether you have that discipline to keep that continuity. It's not about doing 1 hour or half hour. It's about keeping that continuity. Even if it's half hour, if you keep continuity all day, all weeks, months, no matter how busy you are, no matter how you feel, no matter where you are, gradually you will see some progress. Gradually, with the time, you will see some progress. On the other hand, I do 1 hour, 2 hours, because I feel very inspired now for a day, for a week, months, and then I stop doing it for days, months, weeks. Then as time goes, it will be very difficult to see the progress with the time. So I think that is the important. So I guess maybe, of course, like in all, and then also, with other lumbering, there are like Katamba, Geshela, Tamba, 8 verses, and many other stanzas from which has taken here. Again, you can take one of them for each day to contemplate on them. You don't have to recite all of them every day. You don't have to. Of course, if you have time, that is wonderful. But if you don't have, you can see from one of those verses that inspire you that day, because you are going through some, that day you are going through some kind of difficulties, something's bothering you, something's coming up, and you see one of the verses that seems to fit in that helpful. You take that verse, you recite, and then you take time to contemplate and reflect on that. So again, you don't have to recite each of them every day, because you don't have the time to do so. But taking the whatever verses that fit during that day, that week, that month, that you are struggling with something's bothering, and that fits and suit that can, and so. So I think, I think maybe for that, I think maybe we can continue to discuss more in the next sessions, so because, this, with transforming that, I don't think I need to go verse by verse and explain it, because that would be, topic for many sessions to go through that. And I think many of you are already have got teaching on those. And so I will just kind of give a little bit tip here and there that can be beneficial and helpful. And then we will continue some more about establishing a daily practice, the next sessions, okay? If there's questions, I can take one question, even though our time is time, I still can. And other questions I can take later, but if anyone have any questions, I wouldn't mind taking one now, morning.
If anyone has a question, they can either raise their hand or unmute and ask directly.
Or send a chat.
Or send, oh yeah, that's right, put in a chat.
Chat, and you can send chat in public, or if you want to send it privately, you can send privately too, if you don't want. I know sometimes people like to send more privately, so.
Hi there, good morning.
Good morning, yes.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
So to me, it seems like all of life seems just to practice Buddhism and be a good person, which is, I think, normal for any person. But to me, Buddhism seems a little intense to me, personally, because I grew up in a Catholic church, which was only like go to church, pray, and just be a good person. Don't do anything else. Don't worry about anything else. If you're just a good person, you'll go to heaven. But in Buddhism, you have to do all these like steps, and you have to believe in karma. And do you think it's overwhelming?
I think it depends on individuals. And as you mentioned, definitely it can be overwhelming for a lot of people at the very beginning. Because there's so many practices. First of all, there's so much information. There's so many different practices. And sometimes you can be overwhelmed what practice to do, what practice not to do. If you do all the practice, even you spend the whole day, it seems like not enough. Whole day you can do practice and still it feel like you will not be able to fit all the practice within one whole day, weeks, months. So sometimes it can be feeling overwhelmed. But we shouldn't be overwhelmed by that. We just have to find which particular practice fit ourselves, suit ourselves, our needs, and we just focus on that. And we don't have to be overwhelmed by there's so many of that. One of the example I often give, and I found myself when I first came to this country, when I went to the one of the grocery store, I was overwhelmed, I didn't know what to do, I just needed salt, and I went to that, and there is so many salt, different price and all kind of, I didn't know what to take, I was totally kind of overwhelmed and not being able to make decisions, not being able to take which one to take, which not to take. But with the time, now I know what I want, and I don't have to be overwhelmed by that. But I know it's good to have all this selection because different people need different things. Different people, some people gluten-free, some people not gluten-free, some vegan, some want that kind of salt, that kind. So it's good that there is so much selections because then it fulfills everyone's needs. And sometimes Buddhism is like that. There are so many different meditations, so many different techniques, even with the same meditation, different techniques. And there is that because certain techniques is more suitable to other than others. Certain techniques is more suitable, more powerful, more effective to someone than others. And so we just study, learn, and then after some time we find, oh, this is what I want, and this is what is helpful to me, this is what effective to me, and you just follow that. And then, other practice are there. You can study, you can learn, or not study and learn, but they are helpful for others. So you leave it them for them, and we shouldn't be so overwhelmed by that.
Right. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt. Do you think it might be, I know having options is good, but do you think it might be too many options? Like sometimes you get too overwhelmed, and like I tried looking for like a book about Buddhism where it contains everything there is to know about Buddhism, and I can't find anything because there's so much to do. But like in Catholicism, I just have the Bible, which is like that's all I need, and you have everything you want in the Bible.
Well, in Buddhism, there is one that is very, you can say, universal. It's the teaching on Four Noble Truths. Of course, there are many different commentaries by different teachers, different masters. That is one thing, but the Four Noble Truth is the very basic and foundations all the Buddhists, all different Buddhist lineage, whether it's a Theravada lineage, whether it's a Mahayana lineage, whether it's a Vajrayana lineage, they all are founded and rooted in that fundamental teachings. So that will be one of them. And for the Mahayana on top of that, then, if you try to take then the Lamrim is the very essence of all of them, and of course there are many different, Lamrim by different teachers, different masters. So you just have to, see which one is more helpful, beneficial. So if you try to really go for something, you are just looking for one or two books that you can see kind of universal of all the Buddhisms, and I think those might be some of those. So definitely having too much can be overwhelming, but it depends on individual, as you said. Just as I felt overwhelmed being going grocery at the very beginning, and also same time I like when I go to restaurant, if there's too much options, I find hard to make decisions. If there is little bit less options, it's more easy to make the decisions. So that is not only with Buddhism, that is same with everything. But at the same time, we would like to have more options, isn't it? At the same time, we would like to have more options anyway. But
Right.
sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming, even in our other aspect of the life as well. Yeah.
Right. Do you mind? I just have one more question.
Yes, please.
Hi. I have a question. So when I have my daily practice, when I contemplate impermanence, detachment, emptiness,
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering if the determination of getting enlightened itself also a kind of attachment, because when I read the Diamond Sutra, I don't fully understand Diamond Sutra, but I remember there's one sentence that goes like, after you get enlightened, you'll also discard Dharma. So is it like a beyond nirvana concept here?
Mm-hmm. Yes, having a discipline, determination itself is not attachment, but we can get attached to it. We can get attached to our practice.
Yeah.
We can get attached to our goal, enlightenment. And so we have to we have to let go of attachment, even to our path, even to our practice, even to the goal of our practice, the enlightenment. So definitely we have to let go of that. But without having attachment, we can still have discipline and determinations. So there's a difference between having discipline and determinations in our practice and being attached to that. When we have attachment, there's a grasping to that, grasping to the path, grasping to the practice, grasping to the result. Whereas someone can be determined to do something, to practice, to be on the path, to achieve, but without that kind of grasping. And so in terms of attachment, definitely we have to let go of, if there is attachment to our path, then it can become a problem. It become a problem. If we attach to our practice, it becomes a problem. If we become attached to the result itself, it becomes a problem. So definitely we shouldn't have attached to any of them. But just having determination doesn't mean it's attachments. So there is a difference. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Most welcome. So okay, maybe George, maybe you can bring your next question, maybe next sessions. Okay. So anyone has more questions, please bring next sessions and we can discuss more. Okay. So then, thank you very much. We'll see you later. Thank you. See you later. Thank you.
Geshela, we'll see you at
Thank you.
1 o'clock Pacific time.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.